All right, friends. Shall we talk about London? A couple weeks ago now. What is this, 2 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago, I went to London to play in the Flesh and Blood Pro Tour. And it was a really good time. We got to kind of go back though, right? We got to go back a little bit to talk about kind of how we ended up bringing the deck we did, how we ended up in the spot we ended up. So one thing that has been plaguing me for a while is my limited skills, right? I'm like known to not be the best limited player, which is unfortunate. For those of you who don't know, limited is a format that you play. Well, it's a broad range of formats. Specifically, draft is what we're talking about. Draft is a format that you play in competitive Flesh and Blood and some other card games where basically everyone gets 3 packs. You're in a pod of 8 people sitting around a table, and each person gets 3 packs. You open a pack, you look at all the cards, you pick one card, and you put it down, and you pass the rest of the pack, pick up this pack, take one card, put it down until that pack's empty, and then you do it again, and you do it again, right? So it's kind of like drafting like a fantasy sports. It's very similar. And then you play a mini tournament with the deck that you just built, right? So it's 3 rounds. One person goes undefeated. And then there's 2 2-1s, 2 1-2s, and 1 0-3. I hover around the 1-2 to 0-3 range. I am not good at draft. So about a year ago, I think, I started deciding, you know what? This sucks. I keep going to these like events, right? Like these Pro Tour level events. I show up, I put a ton of work into Constructed, which is the main format that you play in these events. And then I do really well. And then it gets to the draft and I just like literally like send up a prayer and hope to God I win some games so that I could like stay in the tournament at all, right? That's just like how it's been for me. I don't enjoy limited. It's not my thing. And so I suck at it. I'm like a well-known limited sucker and well-known at being bad at things that I do not like. So here we are. Pro Tour London's coming up. For the past couple events, I've put quite a lot of work into draft, actually. And I'm getting a little bit better and a little bit better every event. So like starting back with heavy hitters, I went like 3-3. No, sorry, I didn't make it that far. I went like 2-1, I think, 1-2. I was doing okay in heavy hitters. And then it was Misfail, which I practiced really hard for. And in Misfail, in the U.S. Nationals, I went 5-1 in my draft. I went 3-0, and then I went 2-1. There's a fun story time about that, how I drafted Cosmic Awakening and 20'd my opponent for all 3 wins in the draft. It was hilarious to me. My opponents probably thought it was less funny. And then Rosetta came around, and that was for Worlds, and I 0-3'd the draft. It was a really unfortunate thing. I think I talked about it in that story time, but it like reinvigorated. Please ignore my headphone dent while I go turn the fan on. It's getting hot in here. It reinvigorated my, like, I don't want to say passion, but my drive to get better at limited, because I'm just fucking sick of getting knocked out of these events. I'm just sick of it. Like, I like to think I'm a very good Flesh and Blood player, right? And a very good card game player. And I think I show at the all constructed events that I am very good. I'm constantly in the top 8 of these like battle hardens. I'm winning them, right? Like I do very well. The issue is then it's draft time and I shit the bed and I'm out of the entire event and all my practicing is for nothing, right? So this time I was like, we need to buckle down. We need to lock in is basically what I kept telling myself. So this season for this set, I practiced very hard for limited. I asked a lot of people for advice. I did a lot of practice drafts. I worked with a lot of different people. I played more limited events, right? Like all these kinds of things. I did have an issue though. I ran into one issue multiple times. That's a little embarrassing. Basically, if you're not familiar with this most recent set, there are 3 heroes that you can play. You can play Arachne Marionette, the assassin. You can play Fang, the warrior, Draconic warrior, or you can play Syndra, the Draconic ninja. And basically, each duo of them has a set of equipment that they can play. So for Arachne and Fang, they can play Red Alert, right? It's like a heavier armor looking thing. For Assassin and Ninja, they can play Leapfrog. It's like a lighter armor, leathery kind of looking thing. And then the Draconic heroes can play a suite of Draconic armor. They cannot play the other duos. Syndra can't play Red Alert. Fang can't play Leapfrog. Arachne can't play Draconic. So at the very first event for this set, why am I blanking on the set name? Uprising 2.0. I Hunted. Okay, so the very first set for Hunted Limited, I'm playing and I'm doing very well. I day 2 the calling, right? And I draft for the first time this set because it's like the set just came out, right? I'm at the world premiere or whatever. I draft, or the calling after the world premiere. I draft Syndra, the ninja. And I draft the most cracked Syndra deck you've ever seen. This didn't make it to a story time. This whole event was like an insane story, but I just ran out of time. I drafted the most insane Syndra deck you've ever seen. It was busted. We're a week into the format, and I knew this shit was not okay. I was going to run people over. I'm about to throw this draft. I'm going to top 8 this goddamn calling. And I'm so stoked to show my buddy, my buddy Eric, who's been helping me out with draft at this point. I'm so stoked to show him how well I did. And I even got a full suite of equipment. All four pieces of equipment. We're up big. And so I take the deck to him. I slam it down. And I'm like, bro, look at this. And he's looking and he's like, oh my God, you're going to 3-0 this draft. And I'm like, I know, right? And then he like moves through my tokens and stuff. And he spots my equipment. And he's like, and you just had like extra picks and you hate drafted these equipment. And I was like, what do you mean? And he's like, Caleb, you can't play Red Alert in Syndra. And I was like, oh no. And you might be thinking to yourself, that's not so bad. So you lost a piece of equipment. I did not lose one piece of equipment. I had 4, the entire suite. Helmet, gloves, boots, chest piece, Red Alert. All 4. I had the most nuts Syndra deck you've ever seen with 4 pieces of equipment, and I could not play a single one of them, right? I also lose all 3 die rolls in that draft, which if you know the 100 draft and you know Syndra, that's pretty important to win those die rolls. I lose all 3. I barely do not 3-0 this pod. I still 2-1. I almost 3-0. Like, the deck was nuts. I just had to share that. Because a few weeks later, when we're playing RTNs, my RTN record looks something like this. You need a top 4 to qualify for nationals, right? I play like 4 of them. The first one, out in quarterfinals, 8th place. Unfortunate. The second one, out in quarterfinals, 8th place. Unfortunate. The third one, bubble top 8, finish 9th. Don't make it. The last one, make top 8. It's draft. I draft Fang. Guess what equipment I draft? If you said the ones Fang can't play, you're right. I drafted Leapfrog Fang, baby. And once again, I had a very good deck that could not play my equipment, and I was swiftly removed from the top cut of that tournament. I lost pretty fast. So, I had a big fear of accidentally drafting the wrong equipment in this Pro Tour, and we'll talk about it when we get there. But now we need to talk a little bit about CC. We need to lay the groundwork for the classic constructed part of this tournament. A couple months prior to the Pro Tour, we already knew that Aurora was the best deck. This is not news, right? Everyone knew Aurora was going to be the best deck. We also had a pretty good idea that Enigma was going to be a best deck as well. And I'm pretty certain I'm going to be playing New, the Mystic Assassin, right? It's a deck I have a good amount of practice with since Osaka. I enjoy playing New. I like the playstyle. I like playing with a lot of blues. I enjoy having a good aggro matchup, and I feel quite comfortable into Enigma. So it feels really good. Her other bad matchups just like don't really exist. So she seems like the pick into the field. Super stoked to play New. But because I have so many reps on New, I figured I'll maybe try something else. And I was really talked into it by my buddy who also plays Verdance, who did really well in the calling and then ended up top 8ing the Battle Hardened, right? Some of you know him, John Folk. He's the Verdance player before I started playing Verdance. He's the guy that pushed me into it. He like taught me all the stuff, right? And so he basically said, hey, here's this Verdance deck. You should go play it. And I just copied his list and went to a Battle Hardened and won the Battle Hardened on Verdance. You can watch that story time. That's a fun one. I think that's my most recent one. And so I decide, you know what? I'm going to spend more time testing Verdance because I feel like there's something here, right? I just won a tournament on her. She does a couple of pretty powerful things. I'm going to spend more time testing Verdance. I already know how to play New, so I only need like a little bit of practice on New to update it, right? So I'm testing Verdance, and it's going like, okay, not great. Aurora's pretty tough. Enigma absolutely smashes you. And a couple other matchups are also a little bit difficult. But we work on it really hard. Me, the other Verdance players, Pankaj, you know, we spend a lot of time on Verdance. But as we're getting closer and closer, it just kind of like doesn't work out. And I go, okay, you know what? Fine. I'll drop it. It's time for me to work on New. So we start practicing New. Me and Easton Douglas on the team were the main New supporters. Pankaj also played New, but he was working on like a different, more damage heavy version. So we're playing New, and we're crushing the Auroras. Right. This is when Jacob Clemens' list hit the calling, the top 8, when he top 8'd with like the like 12D react New deck, right? Like everyone was just playing like 12D reacts. And I was like, oh, this deck is like kind of sauced, right? It's crushing Aurora. And Aurora, New still felt good in everything else. So basically locked on New. I'm so locked on New at this point. I don't think I have them here. I think it's in a different drawer. But I bought the New hero sleeves. These ones. I bought them because I was certain I was going to play them in the Pro Tour, right? But the issue is, as we get closer and closer to the Pro Tour, all these matchups that I'm winning, I'm just not winning quite as much. Matchups that were good, like the Aurora matchup. Our team has really good Auroras. Really good Auroras. I tested with a very strong team, which was very helpful for me. And our Auroras started winning more and more games. And then they had kind of off-the-wall strategies that just, like, kept making the matchup worse and worse. And then when we played New into the 12D React Enigma, at first I was like, damn, I'm just getting rolled every time. This is like really unlucky because I know the matchup isn't this bad. But the more we played the matchup, the more we're just like, oh, it just is that bad. This version of Enigma destroys New. So we're like, losing points in the Aurora matchup. We can't beat Enigma. And we know these are the two most popular decks. So we dedicate our entire sideboard to beating Enigma, right? But then, from the top rope, in comes Florian. We play that matchup out. New versus Florian. And we are not winning. So all of a sudden, we're playing this New deck, which is beating everything. And then over the course of like 3 weeks, it just stops beating anything. We're just losing to every deck in the format. Instead of showing up like 60% to every deck, we'd be showing up at like 45% to every deck. If we're lucky, right? Like, it felt bad. And so I'm like, oh, this isn't going to work out. This isn't going to work out. Luckily, I have some Enigma players that can teach me to play Enigma. But the issue is, I have exams that week and a bunch of other homework and a bunch of work. So Instead of practicing Enigma, I just don't do any of that. And then I get on my plane to London. Now, my choices are hard pivot to Enigma, which I've never played, but I've played against a ton, so I understand how it works, right? Like, there's a lot of people on the team who play Enigma. They can help me. They can help catch me up. Or we play Kano. Now, I've played a lot of Kano, right? And there's buzz about a new version floating around. This version is that's just like maximum degenerate, super dice rolly. It's this like 9 open the floodgate, 9 overflow the Aetherwell list Kano. All it does is combo. It blocks, it Kanos to try to find potions, and then it combos. That's all it does. Deck does nothing else. And I'm playing it, and I'm cooking people, dude. Cooking people. I'm playing the Enigma matchup. I don't know, 7-0 our Enigmas. I'm like, hell yeah. That's what's up. Time to play against the Auroras. Put one of my teammates on Aurora. I sit across from them as Kano, and I don't win a single fucking game. It doesn't matter how many we play. I'm not winning. It's just AB3, Spellvoid 2. My opponents have like 6 to 9 blues. And like, I was playing one, and I'm like, okay, I think we're good to combo. And then Yuki goes, should I just hold a blue in my hand for next turn? Would that be good? And I just lost the game, right? I'm just like, yeah, I can't beat that. And I don't deal any damage, so I can't like pressure you out of it. So I'm just losing and losing and losing and losing into Aurora. But I'm beating everything else but Prism. So now my options are play Kano and just say, you know what? I'll just lose into the most popular deck. Whatever. What are the odds I even run into the most popular deck? You know, what are the odds? Or I pivot to Verdance. A deck that nobody takes seriously. And we see how that goes. Now, we'd made some really interesting improvements. If you want to know how we came about this stuff, I'll talk about it briefly, but I talk about it a little bit more in depth on my Patreon, which is linked below. Shameless plug. If you're interested in like more guide style content, that's the place to do it. So, Verdance. How did we change the deck? Well, we were playing against Aurora a lot, and we kept drawing no blocks and fucking dying. So the first thing we did was just cut every single no block. No blocks are completely relegated to the sideboard. And one thing that may sound really weird to a lot of people is that means that we cut Sigil of Solace from the list entirely. No Sigil of Solace in the Verdance deck. The second thing we did is change the combo. I hate playing health potion combo. It's boring. It puts all the agency on your opponent. So if your opponent's a savvy player, which people at the Pro Tour tend to be kind of decent, then what they can do is like counter pitch stack your pitch stack. And then when you're about ready to go off, that's when they send their disruption that they pitch stacked, right? The Jarl can pitch as CLFs or CNC pummels, right? All that kind of stuff. And it's not good. The Enigma can pitch stack weakest link. Well, they shuffle, but you get what I'm saying, right? I don't like it. I also don't like that I can't beat Enigma. But I keep having like thoughts ever since I won the Battle Hardened. Like the day after, I'm like, this isn't good enough. What can I do that's different? And I keep having thoughts about casting CYB, rampant growth, and then nuking my opponent on their turn. The issue is it's super resource intensive. And the second issue is then you have to play CYB, which isn't good until it's like good enough, right? So until you're casting like CYB 3 or 4, you're getting like really, really bad value on it. And Verdance has to block a lot to survive, right? And she's already got like a bunch of 2 blocks in the deck. That way she can get enough Earth cards. So after a bunch of contemplating, I land on Fertile Ground Red, which if you're not aware, I don't blame you. The card basically says it's 2 mana, instant, doesn't block, red, gain 2 life. It's an Earth instant. If you have 4 or more Earth cards in your banish zone, you gain 5 life instead. So the plan is get to the late game, cast Fertile Ground, rampant, Storm Striders, throw something at my opponent, right? It's too resource intensive. So I add energy potions to the deck, and I cut all the health potions. Now the plan is play an energy potion, get to the Fertile Ground, cast Fertile Ground, double rampant Stormstrider's spell. You can do like maximum with that, with just one energy potion, you can do 20 damage on your opponent's turn, which is sick. It also means that we don't have to take time setting up against Enigma. We can just play the entire game out, and then if we have space, on our turn, we can Fertile Ground combo them. And if we don't have space, on their turn, we can Fertile Ground combo them for less, right? And all of a sudden, a couple days before the Pro Tour, I'm playing a couple games into our Enigmas. Before I finalize my list, I play into Nia a couple times, and I go 1 and 2, but some things were pretty unfortunate for me. And he goes, I don't think this matchup is as bad as you think. And I make a couple more changes. I play into Larissa, and I like win all the games. I play into my local Enigma, Austin. I win all the games, except like one. I make a couple more changes, but I don't get to test them out. Get to London. I'm practicing draft. Blah, blah, blah. You know how it is. Last minute games and everything. I'm locking Verdance, but at this point, I'm just like, whatever. This isn't going to go well. This is not my tournament to win. We're just going to do as best we can, right? Like, this meta isn't super favorable for me, but, you know, whatever. That's my own fault for playing Verdance and not, like, a good deck like Enigma. I'm sure I'm missing tons of stuff, but this was, like, a pretty jam-packed weekend. So I'm just going to skip to the actual tournament. But I sit down, round 1, feeling a little bit nervous. And I end up playing against Will Bradshaw, whom I love. Great guy. And he's on Enigma. Not exactly the first round that we wanted to see. So we play against Enigma. I bring in the plan. We got 3 copies of Scar for a Scar. 3 copies of Enlightened Strike. And then we have the Fertile Ground Energy Potion combo. And like I mentioned, the plan is to play the game. We have to keep their board clear. But then once their board is clear, we can block if we want to. You keep your life total up. And you want to walk it down with them. That way, you can use your little Fertile Ground combo to just end the game, right? So that's the plan. We're going to see if it works out. Playing into Will, and he admits that he's not exactly sure how to play into Enigma. I mean, how to play into Verdance with Enigma, which is something that I hear a lot over the course of this weekend. And we're playing the game, and it's such a good game. It's pretty close. It's back and forth. But I end up squeaking it out, and I get the win. We're 1-0 in the Pro Tour with Verdance. We played into Enigma. We won. The plan worked, right? Next round, round 2. I'm not feeling too happy yet, though. Round 2 is against New, a matchup that I'm going to be completely honest with you guys, we did not figure out. We tried. We thought we had it figured out. The new list changed. We struggled to beat it. I'm still working on it for the new Pro Quest season, honestly. But I play into New, and I just get slaughtered. There's disruption every turn. I barely get my opponent below 30. I can't combo, and I lose the game. It just... That's how you lose the matchup. It's like, if they don't ever miss on disruption, it can be very, very difficult to get like anything going, because you have to put them on the back foot enough that they can't use all their cards to disrupt you. Because if they use all their cards to disrupt you every turn, you are not able to like assemble your combo pieces or like start casting fellings and stuff, right? Like what you need to be able to do. You need to get their life total down a little bit, or get a Giga combo setup. I did not do either of those. Lost the game. 1-1. Round 3. I play into... Oh my goodness. Why am I struggling? I play into another Enigma, I believe. And it is the same thing as before. I bring in my package. I cast my Scars, my E-Strikes. We play the game. Whittle the life totals down. Get there in the end. 2-0 into Enigma. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, right? That's pretty sick. We have 2 rounds left of day 1 for CC. Then we move on to draft. I need to go 5 wins and 3 losses in order to make it into day 2. We're currently 2-1. I sit down against Aurora. The matchup that we played by far the most. We worked really hard on this. And one of the things that we did is that we played Blade Beckoner Gauntlet into Aurora. And we do not have access to Arcane Barrier 1 we have Arcane Barrier 2 in our boots, not 1. So we played Crown of Providence, Barkskin, and Blade Beckoner Gauntlet. And the reason we ended up on Blade Beckoner Gauntlet is because Pangash, who's in chat right now, hey, how you doing? Made a misclick while playing a testing game and accidentally played Blade Beckoner Gauntlet instead of Metacarpus nodes. And because they didn't want to restart the game, they just said, whatever, we'll play it out. And it ended up being very good. So he tried it one more time, and it was really good again. And he tried it again, and it was really good again. So we were just like, I guess this is maybe the sauce. So we just started playing Blade Beckoner Gauntlet into Aurora. He correctly realized that if you pitch a blue to Arcane Barrier or Arc Lightning 3 times, it's the same amount of damage prevented as if you just block with a 3 block, right? And we're like, oh my god, basic math. And it ended up doing a lot for us in the Aurora matchup, I think. It made it easier for us to keep aggressive because we could more efficiently block out on the turns that we needed to block out, right? There are some other things that we played. We played Scar for Scar into Aurora to continue racing. We had a lot of big red cards, attacks. We were much less arcane heavy than the current Verdance list of that time were. And we didn't have no blocks. We didn't play Rampant Growth into her. We didn't have Sigil of Solace at all, right? Like, I felt pretty good into Aurora. The issue with Aurora is that sometimes you just die, right? Sometimes she just kills you. Now, I'm playing this round. And we're playing. It's tough. It's a tough game. But, like, I pull ahead pretty hard. I'm talking, like, I'm up, like, 18 points of life. I pull ahead far. And I'm setting up to kill my opponent. Right? I draw my hand. There's Felling. There's a blue. Easy peasy. You know, we're going to do it. My opponent has, like, 5 cards. They forget to tick up their Tunic. It's on 2. And they forget to tick it up. And my opponent expresses, oh, I forgot my Tunic. I always let people tick up their Tunic once. Always. It's just like, I don't know. It's just who I am, right? If we're playing in the Pro Tour and you make a play and before I do anything, you say, can I take that back? Yeah, you can always take it back, man. I don't care. But you only get one. You get one freebie, right? So I say, yeah, no, just tick it up. Tick it up, bro. It's fine. Like, I don't care. He goes, oh, wow, thank you. He ticks up his Tunic. And he casts Arc Lightning, Flicker Wisp, Arc Lightning. And does, like, 30 damage. So, all of a sudden, my lead that I had, my opponent's on single-digit life totals. They're literally, like, they presented Shock Charmers. They're within dead. They're at 6. And I have Pulsing Aether or Emeritus Scolding plus Waning Moon. I can deal 7. They can Spell Void 2. So they would go to 1 if I had Storm Strike Zone. I needed to deal 1 damage. And I'm at like 20. And my opponent presents so much damage that I have to block with all of my equipment and all of my hand just to not die. That Tunic counter was worth 6 damage, right? 2 from the sword, 2 from the first Arc Lightning, 2 from the second Arc Lightning. If I don't allow my opponent to take up their Tunic counter, I just cast Felling of the Crown, and I win the game 100% of the time. But I did not do that. And eventually, I was whittled down, and I lost the game. Now, here's the thing, though. If the next round, my opponent forgets to take up their Tunic counter once, I'm still just going to let them take it up, right? Like, that's just, I don't know. That's just kind of how I am. So, sometimes you lose by being nice, I suppose, and that's one of them. But, I don't know. It is what it is. So, 2-2 in the Pro Tour. Not exactly how we wanted it to go. But I knew Verdance was like a difficult bring. and sometimes it doesn't work out. Metacarpus no diff. I would have died if it was... Oh, because I could have pumped the Pulsing Aether. No, you're right. That's a good point. Although I may not have been in good of a spot because I wouldn't have been able to block with Gauntlet. Next round, I'm playing against Aurora again. And this time, luckily for me, they don't go Arc Lightning, Flicker Wisp, Arc Lightning. Instead, they go Flicker Wisp, Arc Lightning, Flicker Wisp. And I die. I put so much practice into the Aurora matchup, and my opponents just draw the goods and fucking kill me in back-to-back rounds. And I'm like, ugh. But like, that's why you play the deck, right? That's why the deck's the best deck, is because not only does it play normal games, but sometimes it just toasts your opponent. Sometimes you just draw all the combo pieces in the same hand and your opponent dies, right? That's what the deck does. And it did it to me, and it felt really bad. So I'm 2-3 going into the draft. I have to go undefeated just to stay alive, right? So we start drafting. I'm sitting down, and we're like... I end up drafting Syndra, and I draft, like, honestly, a very good Syndra deck. I was really proud of myself for how I drafted. I can't remember how the individual rounds went, because they're draft, and I don't think about my limited games nearly as much as I should. That's probably part of the problem I have. But I just like, it is what it is. And I end up 3-0ing the draft. I got all 3 wins. And more importantly, I drafted only playable equipment. There was no red alert in my Syndra deck. And I was so proud of myself. Although I will say, I was so worried about it that every single time I thought about drafting equipment, I double checked the wording at the bottom just to make sure that I didn't mess up. Drafted a Syndra deck, 3-0'd it. Hell yeah. We're in day 2 of the Pro Tour. Now, normally back in the before times when it was 4 rounds of CC, 3 rounds of draft, if I was 4-3 in the Pro Tour, I would technically make day 2. But I would basically always just drop and play the calling, because I don't like to play tournaments where like my back's against the wall, or like I don't like to play tournaments where it's just like really a long shot that you ever win the tournament, like really, really, really long shot. So I would usually just drop and play constructed because I would drop and play the calling because I just wanted to play constructed, right? But now it's 5-3, which means that it's less people make day 2. And I put so much work into draft that I'm just like, yeah, I'm just going to play day 2. It's fine. I'm just going to play day 2. And I find out that I'm sitting next to Mercy, who's one of my teammates for the day 2 draft. And she's passing to me. And I look at my first pick of my pack, and I have like Lair of the Spider or something. So I take that, right? Assassin Ninja card. I take another good like Assassin Hybrid card. And then I see like some good Assassin cards and some good Ninja cards. And I go, my Assassin Ninja cards are a little bit better than Assassin, better in Assassin. So maybe I hedge and take the Assassin card. Next pick. There's a couple good Assassin cards in here. The Warrior card is more powerful, but there's only one of them, where there's 2 quite good Assassin cards. I'll take the Assassin card. And then like pick 5, I get like a slam dunk Assassin card. And I'm like, woo! Ah! Right? Whoo! Okay, that means that there's probably only one other Assassin in the pod. So we're drafting, and I'm just getting just bang, bang, bang. Good stuff, good stuff, good stuff. In the first pack, I draft like 5 attack reactions. I'm chilling, right? I'm like, damn, whoever this second Arachne is doing a bad job. We get to pack 2. I open my pack. It sucks. Whatever. Take a card. Pass it. Look at the next one. It sucks. Whatever. Take a card. Pass it. And then I like pick 3. There's 2 assassin cards that I would want. I take 1. Pass it. That pack comes around. All those packs come around, and there's not a single assassin card missing. So it's about at this point that I realize, it was kind of in my mind, but I never let myself believe it until it's like confirmed. But it's at this point that it's confirmed. I am the only Arachne in this entire pod. Now, if you have ever drafted at a high level event, you dream of being the one of, right? This transcends like each game. You know, Flesh and Blood, you dream of being the one of in your class. The one of Syndra, the one of Arachne, right? In Magic, you dream of being the one person playing blue. You know what I mean? Like, it's the same thing. And my dreams are becoming reality. I open up my third pack, and you know what I need? Blues and equipment. There's fucking premiums in this pack. I look at it, Mark of the Black Widow's in here. And then there's a blue non-attack block 3. And you know what I do? I take the blue non-attack block 3 because it's generic, and I pass the Mark of the Black Widow red because I know there's no other assassin in this pod, and that card is going to get back to me. I look at the next pick. Look at that. Another red Mark of the Black Widow. But I don't have a headpiece, so I'm going to take this helmet, and I'm going to pass this red Mark of the Black Widow. I do that for like 3 or 4 picks, right? And then it's like pick 8 or 9, so it comes around. I look at it, guess what's still there? Red Mark of the Black Widow. Boom. Next pack. Red Mark of the Black Widow. Boom. Pass it. I don't know if I've seen a draft deck as good as this draft deck. Like, ever. This deck was insane. This deck was so good that in the 3 games I played, I drew all red hands at least twice a game. And it did not matter. I still won every game. We 3-0'd the second draft, and I went 6-0 in limited altogether, which is crazy that I 6-0'd a draft at a Pro Tour. I cannot believe it. This is beyond my wildest dreams, right? And I'm still live for top 8. What do you know? Like, that's crazy. There was a little funny moment where, now Mercy and I tested together, like I mentioned, and she was passing to me in packs 1 and 3. There was a moment where right after the draft ended, she looks me in the eye and she goes, "You're welcome." And then we realized very fast that we should not even make jokes about her giving me good stuff because my deck looks like I colluded with the entire table. My deck's insane. So we can't... she's kidding, right? She would have played the Assassin deck if she thought she could get the Assassin deck. She also just doesn't like Assassin that much. So she passed it and ended up in just a different seat. I just happened to be the one who benefited. But we're like, wow, we really can't say things like that because it might look like we actually did this on purpose. The draft's over. X3, what is that? 5 and 3? No. 8 and 3. 8 and 3 at the Pro Tour right now. You have to go X and 3. So I cannot lose any more games if I want to top 8 the Pro Tour. There's 4 rounds left of Constructed. And me and my opponent, Mr. Cody Reddy, get called up to the feature match. First feature match I'm on of the tournament. And I'm pretty certain they wanted to get me on feature match because Pankaj wanted to show up the Verdance deck we were playing. That we worked on, but they wanted to get me on feature match before I'm no longer in contention for top 8. Because once I'm in contention for top 8, which I'm out of contention for top 8, they can't put me on feature match anymore. So they're like, we gotta get him before he loses. So we go play feature match, shuffle up, having a good time. Cody and I go back, so we're just talking, you know. And we start playing the game, and things are pretty normal. Things are pretty normal. And then at about the midpoint of the game, like, it's going fine. The issue is I haven't seen a single felling of the crown, and I'm slowly starting to fall behind. We're about halfway through the decks. I've never pinged my opponent, and I haven't seen a felling, which is like all that's pretty unfortunate. But the life totals are still pretty equal. And then a little bit after the midway point of the game, the wheels fall off. My opponent has some strong turns in a row into hands that I cannot profitably block nor send back pressure. It just doesn't work out. It just doesn't work out. And we get to a point where I'm pretty far behind because things just keep not going well. I keep drawing no blocks when I really need any blocks. I draw no blues when I just need 1 blue. I never see a popper, right? Like, things are just like not going well for me. But we're still in the game. barely. And then Cody hits me with a big turn that has a mirror guy. Now, before the game started, I had made a small joke about how I wish I could ping my opponent during their own turn with Verdance. Because you can't. She only pings on your own turn. Cody, unfortunately for him, seems to not be super well acquainted with Verdance. Like I mentioned, this comes up a couple times throughout my games. People just have not played against Verdance, right? So we're playing the game, and over the course of the game, there's just like a couple ways that he said things that I'm starting to get the feeling he does not know that Verdance does not ping on his turn. He even picks up and reads the card and then puts it back down. But I can tell he only read the first sentence where it says deal 1 damage, right? He didn't think about it, the fact that it only works on my turn. It even says it like during your action phase or whatever. Or during your turn. And so I'm starting to get that feeling. Now, on this big pop-up turn he's had like a lot of very good turns, but this one was like really putting the screws to me. Where he has a mirror guy and it's attacking. Now, I'm basically going to lose this game. I can kill this mirror guy, but I have to use my Storm Striders, and I have to activate my hat, which is a big resource in the matchup, to grab Rampant Growth to amp it to 4. So I can get over the prevention that my opponent has, right? Because he's got AB3. And I'm just thinking, and I feel like I'm tanking for like 5 minutes. But when I watched it back, it was not that long. Because I did my tanking while he was casting the card and stuff, because I didn't want him to know what I was concocting. I didn't want him to know that my back was against the ropes. I wanted to project confidence. Because what I do is I Storm Striders, overflow the Aether Well, and it comes in for 3 points of damage. My opponent has a card in hand that they just drew off Levels of Enlightenment. And they have 1 resource floating, or I think it was 1 resource floating and Tunic, right? Tunic's up. Now, if my opponent just pitches a blue and Arcane Barriers, I just die. Like, the game is over and I lose. Now, I still have a blue in my hand and 2 resources. So my opponent's thinking maybe there's some mischief afoot. And there is some mischief afoot. If he activates Tunic, I think it was 2 resources floating, Tunic up. So I'm thinking, okay, the chances of wanting to keep that card pretty high. If I present 3 damage, the most likely scenario, if he wants to AB3, is use Tunic to get the 3rd resource, pay 3. Now, if he uses Tunic, I have to sacrifice my hat and grab Rampant Growth to amp it to 4, like I mentioned, which puts me in a very tough spot to win the game. Because I'm so far behind, I'm going to start drawing Fellings, but now I have no instant speed way to actually win. I finally do start to draw my Fellings, by the way, and I have to block with them. I was so sad. But I'm projecting confidence when I put this red Overflow Aether on the stack, and I'm just sitting there. Because I believe there's a decent chance my opponent suspects that some wizard shit's gonna happen, and he just lets it die. And that's exactly what happens. Sorry, Cody. But I get away with the bamboozle, which keeps me in the best possible spot to actually win the game. I don't. But it kept me in the best possible spot to win the game. Unfortunately, I lose on stream, and I was really sad about this one. I really wanted to win, not just because it kept me in top 8 contention, but also because we worked so hard on this Enigma matchup, and we found such cool tech with this Energy Potion Fertile Ground thing, and I just wanted to show it off, because I know the world thought that like Verdance could not beat Enigma, and we just worked so hard, and I just wanted to show people that we could do it, right? And so I was really sad to lose that game. I was a bit down, right? And yeah, unfortunately, I get knocked out of top 8 contention. Now, we're still playing for cash. The next round, I play against another Enigma. And guess what? I do the thing. I just like 15 my opponent on their turn, and they die. And I'm like, God damn it. Why couldn't that one have been on stream, right? So I'm 3-1 into Enigma on this in this Pro Tour. 3-1. I'm so sad that like the one that I lost was the one on stream. Now it was probably a fun stream game still, right? Like I just really wanted to do the thing. Still live for prizing, which is like $900 for min cash, and it's like $12.50 plus a Singapore invite for like if I go X4, I get like $12.50 and a Singapore invite, and if I go X5, I get like $900 and I don't get a Singapore invite. I play against a Zen, and both our decks just like turbo shit the bed, and we just slap each other a little bit until he dies. It was like it was such a bad game for both of us. It was so weird, but like decks sometimes do that, right? So I'm still live for this 1250, still X4, and I end up playing against Aurora again, and this time it was not Arc Flicker or Arc Flicker Arc. This time it was just Channel Lightning Valleys, burn up shocks that connected, Arc Lightnings on the CLV turns that always got forced through, and I don't get there. And I lose the last round of the Pro Tour. I finish out the Pro Tour at 10-5, which is pretty good, right? I finish in 38th place, I think, out of 500 or so people. And I am pretty happy about that. CC did not go the way I wanted it to. I went 4-5 in constructed. But I think if I play all those rounds again, I think the most likely outcome is closer to 6-3 or 5-4. I feel like I put myself in very good position to win games. I think we put a lot of really good work into this Verdance deck. I think it was better than people expected, and I expect her to continue to get better. But most importantly, I had my first fantastic limited showing at a tier 4 event, which was a really big deal to me because I sucked for so long. And I put so much work into it, right? So it felt so rewarding for me. I had been like winning our team practice drafts, and like I was just 2-1ing or 3-0ing all of our practice drafts leading up to the event. But you never know, you know, like you feel like, oh yeah, I'm getting this, and then like things can just go wrong, and they do. But it was so nice to see it just actually pay off. So once again, when we have the new set coming out, High Seas, which looks incredible, by the way, from what we have, I'm excited to dive back into Limited and to try to keep that train going, just to try to keep it up. I was always so jealous of other players who, when they'd play the games, they only had to win some of their constructed games because they knew that they were going to go like 5-1 total in draft. They're just not worried about it. Because for me, it always felt like I could never lose a single constructed game because I'd be lucky to win 3 draft games. And I want it to get to the point where instead of showing up and going like, oh God, it's draft time. Oh God, it's draft time. Time to lose my record. I can go, it's draft time. Right? Like, I'm good at this. I know what I'm doing. And I felt like that at this Pro Tour. I sat down at my table. I made very like educated picks. I was obviously like luckier than I would be normally to be like the only Arachnid in a pod and everything. But I made very good decisions, and I just felt so much more calm and comfortable throughout the entire draft process, which was a big deal. Big deal to me. At this point, do I still enjoy / have fun playing Flesh and Blood? Yeah, I mean, I'm literally sitting here just talking to you about it on YouTube. I'm flying all around the world to play this card game. You think I don't like it? I love this shit, man. I live for this. Man, since I was introduced to Magic the Gathering, shout out Brady if you watch this, by the way. When I was like 18 years old, we used to watch all the pro tours, and I would dream of being those people. I would see the people that got interviewed at a pro tour for bringing like a cool deck or for doing really well, or just like the players that people knew. I would dream of being one of those guys that they'd like interview, or they'd be like, oh, so and so's playing this deck, right? Like, oh my god, that was the dream. And like now I'm living it, and it's very surreal to me. I know, I love it. I love this. Plus, like, Flesh and Blood's the best, man. Flesh and Blood rocks. And I continue to have pretty high hopes for the game. I think they continue to make some mistakes, as every like designer does. Aurora speedrunning LL is like not supposed to happen. Mistveil was obviously a mistake, but I don't know. With every year, Flesh and Blood just gets better. Do you remember that last year there was no cap on limited decks? Do you remember that? You could just play 39 cards in a draft. Do you remember that? That sucked. That was terrible. Awful. Can I share a couple things that I learned / practice for draft that you think made the biggest difference for you going into this PT? Yes. Yeah, I spent a lot of time making sure that I knew how the public rated cards, not just me. Because there's spots where you can love one card, but if everyone else doesn't love that card and you see it pass to you, you might go, wow, that hero's open, but it's not. You just have a higher valuation of that card than other people. And that's okay. And sometimes very beneficial to be like, no, this card's it. Like for a long time, people were not playing Grow Claws in Syndra. Like they were, but like it wasn't a premium pick. But like Red Grow Claws is insane. It's one of the best Syndra cards you could have, right? And so for the first couple of weeks of the format, I'd be getting like 7th and 8th pick Red Grow Claws. And I'm like, oh, Syndra's so open. And then it wasn't. But we just had different valuations. So I spent a lot of time actually trying to figure out on where everyone kind of collectively thought things were. The other things is I asked a lot more for feedback. A lot more. I had people shadow me. I shadowed other people. I asked a lot more questions. So yeah, I think those are probably the big things. Yeah. Does the set itself fit you better as well to draft than other sets? Actually, no. The sets where I am at my best are sets where value is more ephemeral. If that makes sense. Where it's more like not concrete. Implied value instead of explicit value. So heavy hitters is complete explicit value, right? Like the value's there on the table. It's a numbers format. Something like Mistveil is not quite the same. Every game of Flesh and Blood is about numbers. But like other things mattered. Tempo mattered a bit more. What you had left in your deck mattered a bit more. How you sequence things mattered a bit more. That's where I'm best. That's why I play Wizard, right? That's why I have so much success on Wizard, is because like you make a lot of plays that are not mathematically optimal for greater gain in a different way. And that is like where I shine. If you put me on a deck like Aurora that's just like aggro and looking to grind out value, I don't do very well. I don't know why, but I just don't. I've never done particularly well with these kinds of decks. But I do very well with decks that aren't. So I'm thinking High Seas, because it has a board-based deck in Gravy Bones, a secondary resource in the gold and whatnot, and a little bit of interesting stuff going on. I think it's going to be it's going to be less of a heavy hitters hunted type set. It may be more closer to Mistveil, where value is kind of wishy-washy. And I'm really looking forward to that. That'll be fun. So yeah, that was a pro tour for me. I had so much fun. Larissa played in her first pro tour ever. She did really well. I don't think she thinks she did really well. She started off really unfortunate. Just had some bad games. First game of the tournament for her, she just like wasn't prepared to play a competitive game. You know how that happens sometimes? You like sit down for your round and you start playing and you're like, whoa, I was not ready to play this game. That happened to her in round 1. She made a mistake or two in a couple other rounds. Just got beat in another round. She ended up down at the lower tables and was really down about it. And then she like won the last constructed game, got put in a draft pod with Peter, and they had a blast. They just had like a ton of fun. Peter, they played in the finals, so she went 2-1. Peter went 3-0. She finished 3-5, which like for your first pro tour in a game so complicated as Flesh and Blood, where she's only really taken it seriously for like 4 months, right? Like only Enigma. I was really impressed, really proud too. She did very well. She went to the calling, went 5-3, another great record, right? Also played in your first one, got. That's just kind of how it goes, though. That's kind of how it goes, right? So I'm really proud of her. Unfortunately, Enigma LL'd, which sucks because it's like the only deck. It's the only deck she's ever really clicked with. So she's gonna try out Dio, and then maybe try out a High Seas champion. We'll see. But yeah, we had a blast in London. The food sucks. If you eat UK food, it's terrible. If you eat food from any other ethnicity / nationality, it's good. It's really weird. Like great Indian food, right? But if you just go to like a pub, you get bad food. Not like bad food. It's just boring food. Like they just don't season anything. And I thought that was kind of a meme. It's not. We have like a burger and fries or whatever, and you're eating the fries, and they literally do not salt the fries. Not like, wow, there's not a lot of salt on these fries. I mean 0 grains of salt on these fries. If you took the fry and you went like this, like you just rubbed your finger down it, no salt would come off because there is actual 0 on the fries. Insanity. It's also, everything's so expensive. And like London's already expensive, but because we just lost like, I don't know what, 10% of our currency's value. I'm American. I don't know if you could tell. The USD is not doing very well. And so we got crushed on costs, honestly. Lodging, not expensive. Everything else, wildly expensive. So that kind of stunk. But yeah, that was London. That was London. And I'm excited to keep playing Verdance. I'm excited where Flesh and Blood's going. I'm excited to keep playing competitively. We got US Nationals coming up. Vegas, June. Be there. I'm trying to get 2 of my brothers to come with me just to like play side events and stuff. So I hope we get to do that. That'd be really fun. And then Philadelphia Worlds later in the year. Also very excited about that. And yeah, that's the story. I know it kind of like petered out at the end and I just rambled about stuff. I guess I'm out of practice for telling stories, but I appreciate you guys coming by. Appreciate you listening. And see you for the next one.